Hi, it's Kristena West, Art and Healing. Thank you so much for coming this week. Who gets nervous when someone tells a joke? If comedy is treason, laughter is resistance. So keep on laughing. This vlog's title is Muzzling the King's Fool, Poking the Bear, Jesters, Power, and the Politics of Laughter. So, of course, we've been seeing the muzzling of entertainers who give us comedic relief in these times of deep distress because one person, nobody's stopping. Nobody's stopping. Hi, everybody. Another week. We've got through it. And I've had one of these carnival dolls since I was growing up. And it reminds me to try to stay light and try to encourage laughter and looking at the ridiculousness of life. We're in a very transformative time. As an artist and a teacher and a clown, there's all kinds of clowns in society. There's circus clowns and there's cultural clowns. There's what we call entertainers or comedians. There's sexual clowns like Mae West was. There's clowns like Robin Williams, Jim Carrey. There's literally hundreds of clowns. And clowns are like the yeast in the culture. They bring reversals, they bring contrariness, they bring the courage to poke the bear. And that is what this vlog is about this week, poking the bear, how clowns poke the bear, and that jesters, fools, and clowns have been with us since the very beginning. They're in every single creation story, if they're a raven or a fox or a coyote. And the gift of clowns or entertainers or comedians is that they bring levity and they're able to look at a situation that is so fraught with pain and sometimes despair that the only way through is to laugh at it, at least briefly. This is no laughing matter. What's happening in America? Bravado and machismo, and patriarchy, cowboys, and lawlessness, that men pride themselves on being these outlaws and cowboys and rogues. And where are they? Where are our heroes? That's what I want to say. Where are our heroes? And I believe that it's going to be the women. And we're seeing that, aren't we? We're seeing the women. What men are standing up for these children, these girls? And do they have daughters? The clown's work, the clown's job, the clown's purpose, the holy fool's purpose. Let me say this in an indigenous or a cross-cultural context. In the festivals, in the Native Americans, when the clowns come out, they have watched the village and they've watched who's the pickpocket. They've watched who's stealing money from somebody else. They've watched who is the glutton. They've watched who is having an affair and cuckolding. And they've watched who is stealing the pin money for the week and going to the pub and getting drunk and the children can't eat. And it's the clown's job during the high festivals that they come out and they are in fool's garb. So and clowns are a secret society, by the way, and they're usually painted black and white stripes or polka dots or covered in white flour. And they go up into the village. They come into the village either down the ladders or they slide or they throw water at the crowds and they mime the addiction or shadow or habitual pattern in front of the person they've been watching during the year. That's their job. That is the spiritual significance and importance of a sacred clown in an indigenous society. And that is meant to publicly shame the individual so that they can be integrated back into the village, into the community. It isn't a way to punish, it's to bring healthy shame so that they themselves, if they choose to, can wake up and see what they're doing and come back into the village and reintegrate so that they can bring goodness and life and growth and health into the village life. And this is what our entertainers are doing. They're poking the bear, and through the mass culture of social media, they're making fun of this person of power. I can't bring myself to say it, who is projecting his own shadow, what he can't acknowledge within himself, onto the entire world and punishing them for his own behavior. Now, the good news is, and I'll put some clips in here. The good news is social media is on fire with brilliance of guerrilla clowning or guerrilla. Yeah, it's guerrilla clowning. It's sacred clowning on the streets of the world with posters and flyers, huge things, projections on the side of Windsor Castle. Oh my. And I understand, and other people have a lot more to lose. Fear is contagious. And within the spiritual traditions, it is well known that there are demons, very well known. This isn't something that's made up or woo woo, it's a fact. And this is every single tradition and religion and shamanic tradition, even psychology. And they may call it the shadow, but they know that demons are can take form. They can become so empowered, they can take form. And this is called an egregore, which I've gone into in my vlog on overcoming evil as it's becoming. And you can still go back to that vlog and listen to it. I was going to call this The Death of Clowns. I could only find one of my earrings. I made that, by the way. So what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Well, there's all kinds of things we can do. And it doesn't have to be on social media, and it doesn't have to be in your face clowning, and it doesn't have to be vlogging about it, because we all know what's going on. And if we don't, I'm very sorry for it. My father was born in Germany, and he left Germany when Hitler was rising to power. All my red flags are up. As a precognitive dreamer, many times I study in my life, I have noticed, because I'm older now, that I would start studying things that were only really going to come later in my life. And one of the things I studied was, for about 5 years, I read a lot of autobiographies of people who lived during the Nazi times. And my question was, how did they get through it? How did they live life under the Nazi regime, the fascist regime, which is happening now? There is no slowly going into it. He's a loose cannon, and he's going to do anything he wants, and nobody's stopping him. So we have collectively said yes to him because we're afraid of our lives, afraid of losing our money, afraid of losing our position, afraid of losing our pride, afraid of standing up and losing, period. I mean, this takes courage, real courage. So the demons, and I know people out there are going to go, demons, what do demons eat? What do you think? What do you think demons eat? What do they live on or thrive on? Come on, haven't read any C.S. Lewis, Worm Tongue? Fear, cowardice, anxiety, imposter syndrome. But sort of, there's an arc in that narrative to real tremendous fear. And what I'm talking about now is the same thing that happened when Trump was here in 2016. And I might have to edit his name out. In 2016, this happened again, and I was on full alert. And I had already been reading many times for many years these autobiographies of how people lived under a fascist regime. And if we don't turn the tide, especially men who are in power, the women aren't in power, people. Hello, it's the men in positions of authority and power because basically y'all kept the women out as much as you can because now would be a great time to let the women go forward and get slaughtered in this fight for the Constitution and our right of free speech. But since men had to claim the field for the most part and have all the job security, what are you doing? And shame on you. Shame on you. And I don't say that to make you feel terrible. I say that in the hopes that something in your conscience will light up in your heart if you're a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim. The races, all the races, Chinese, Japanese, Black, Native American, can we stand up collectively to this? We are, we are. There's tons of people standing up, millions, in fact, but not the people in the Senate, in the Congress, in the Washington arena, which is very like the Coliseum. The entire America is on the floor of the Coliseum. Kill them off with their heads, like the Duchess in Alice in Wonderland. The audience in the Coliseum arena is eating popcorn, having snacks, drinking, laughing, and staying for the most part silent. If we're considering the arena of America, because so I move between myth, experience, performance, storytelling, painting, vlogging, and have experienced my work or art being censored by the narrowing public imagination. Who decides which stories get airtime? If you care about civic courage, institutions that silence jesters and satirists are not merely policing taste, but they are narrowing the public imagination and deciding which stories get airtime. If you care about civic courage and art that bears witness, pay attention to when laughter gets regulated. Muzzling the fool, muzzling the clown, muzzling the jester, muzzling the comedian who pokes the bear takes us into the abyss, into nothingness, into the vacuum, the void. And I will tell you this in all truth, clowns stand in the final frontier of our society. They have one foot in reality and the other foot in the spiritual worlds, whether they know it or not. They are downloading a universal cosmic impulse, imagination, because the gods and goddesses love laughter. They love clowning. They love tricking. They are tricksters. And when you have someone with the capacity of Noah and Kimmel and Colbert and all the comedians, all the entertainers, they are, what's the word that you would understand, right? So they're downloading from the source, what's called high play. They're able to see and source what's living in front of them, what's living in the culture, and they have the ability to transform it into wit, a high wit, which is penetrating and can actually shift perspectives. It is this tremendous gift. And it's not just shifting perspectives, it's metanoia. They have the quality in the penetration of their hearts. And the more they have heart, the better comedians they are. And I'm thinking of Robin Williams in particular right now, that you can change the heart and mind of individuals who are watching the performance. And you can't tell me that Robin didn't change us on a deep and significant level. His quality of humor was biting, could be sarcastic, penetrating, and so on the nose. He was poking the bear, and he was poking the shadow bear, the bête noire, the black dog, the darkest parts of humanity. So we could take a look at that under the garment and say, "Oh shit, that's me. That's me too. Oh my God, he was talking about me there." And then laugh at yourself. That's why we need comedians and entertainers and clowns and holy fools. It is the jester's role in a king's court to make fun of the king. The jester was the one who keeps the king on track, on comes back to center, comes back to, in this case, reality. But if we have a non-king, a fool king, a king who is tremendously incapable of laughter, real laughter from the heart. We have a Schadenfreude king. We have a king who loves Schadenfreude, who loves the power of hurting people and is so small inside that he has to rub people out so he can feel big, right? And you have to admit that a lot of American society is built on this. In all the echelons and all the hierarchies and all the clubs and all the groups, in every institution, there's the hierarchical power of one-upmanship and who's better than who and who's going to get the promotion. We've built America on this and we can change it. But it can't be done overnight, darlings. We're going to have to change it from the ground up. And that's you and me. And clown makes three. Report from the court. Jokes are now contraband. Ah, oh. When they yank a late night show because the non-king feels teased, it isn't about joke, it's about fear. Fear that laughter can make people think. We turn our jests into laughter. Keep your light on. If you like this vlog, please subscribe and come along with me for the ride. Every week it's different. I never know what's going to happen. Hi, everybody. It's Kristena West with Art and Healing. I've got a joke for you. Listen, the jester isn't frivolous. The fool is a mirror. So we can laugh, so we can see, so we can realize. And I'm going back to Rudolf Steiner, who tells us, who actually demands of us that we fight a fully conscious battle with evil in this century. And he submitted over 120 years ago that in America there would be a loss of freedom. He didn't go into detail. And again, remember Rudolf Steiner saw the bee crisis 80 years before it happened and brought biodynamic gardening and organic gardening to repair the earth from what chemicals were doing to it so we wouldn't all die out. A jester's joke is civic data. It maps where power pinches the public. Political satire is civil society's diagnostic. It tells us what our culture refuses to name. Satire educates the public. Satire educates by embarrassment, and embarrassment is a surprisingly reliable tutor. The fool's mirror is a research instrument. Break it and you blind inquiry. Satire is the gym where democracy builds its funny bone. So when you put a lid on cultural or society's entertainment or clowns or sacred fools or laughter or poking at the bear, it is going to exponentially explode in society, which is happening all over the world. Christian Rosenkreutz, the great alchemist, during the French Revolution, a quote from Hosea 8:7, "For they have sown the wind, and they will reap the whirlwind." They have sown the wind and will reap the whirlwind. And we know what happened to Marie Antoinette. Comes the revolution, my father used to say in his heavy German accent. There's many things that I do to put goodness into the becoming of evil as it's being manifest in America and all over the world. And I did an entire blog on this. It's one of the deepest esoteric blogs I've ever done. And most people I've noticed haven't watched the entire thing. And that's such a shame because I have it packed with wonderful quotes and scientific backup of precognition and working in this field of time, in the stream of time as it's becoming. So I urge you to go and listen to the entire thing and watch it because I put a lot of images in there and text to amplify what the talk is about, because that one is one of my deepest blogs I've ever done. The Nature of Evil. I can't remember the entire title. I'm not looking at it right now. So if you enjoy these blogs, which are have levity occasionally, they also talk about being a woman in this society and empowering women. And they're certainly about empowering artists. I wonder if I should show that. Now, this is a terrible photo of a painting I did, and it was about 5 feet by 4 feet or 4 feet. And this was when I was at Berkeley, and they were dropping bags of food that were actually bombs. Fuck. And children were running to pick them up and being blown up. And this is I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I haven't said that since what, second grade? Did I get it right? So this is my satire as a clown of doing a painting of how I felt then about pledging allegiance to the flag of a government that I didn't believe in, that the Uncle Sam, the government, the president, was really the devil and not really in disguise, quite blatantly. And I don't even know if I have that painting anymore. So I just wanted to close with saying a shout out to artists, to comedians, to jokers, to jesters, to those who are doing social media guerrilla clowning, who are pushing the envelope, prodding the bear on the nose all over the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I bow to you. Keep it going. Keep the imagination lit on a better world, a better America, love in the hearts, and this diabolical devil into a human being. Thanks for staying with me. If you like my videos, please subscribe. There's a lot here to see. I really do long forms because I'm interested in life. I'm interested in the other, and I'm interested in you. And what do you think? And what's going on with you? And how are you participating? How are you resisting? Let's get creative.